Mr. McCandless, please rise. We, the jury, find the defendant, Ezra J. McCandless, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in the information. And the answer to the special verdict question is yes, use a dangerous weapon. And you may be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, is this your verdict? All right.
On a chilly spring day in 2018, the peaceful town of Oaklair, Wisconsin, became the backdrop for a brutal murder that would send shockwaves throughout the country. At the center of the case was 21-year-old Ezra McCandless, a young woman with a mysterious past, a tangled love life, and a shocking secret. What initially seemed like a case of self-defense quickly unraveled into something far more sinister. What drove this seemingly artistic and eccentric young woman to kill? Was it an act of desperation, a lover's quarrel gone wrong, or was there a more calculated motive behind it all? This is the disturbing and complicated story of Ezra McCandless, a name that would become synonymous with betrayal, obsession, and cold-blooded murder. The enigmatic Ezra McCandless. Ezra McCandless wasn't always called Ezra. Born as Monica Kay, she later changed her name to Ezra in honor of her favorite literary figure, Chris McCandless, the adventurer made famous by the book Into the Wild. Just like her namesake, Ezra saw herself as a free spirit, an artist, a nonconformist trying to carve out her place in a world she didn't quite fit into. Those who knew her described her as quirky and creative. She was known for her sketches and poetry, her androgynous style, and her philosophical musings. But beneath this surface lay deep emotional instability. Her past was riddled with strained family relationships and frequent identity shifts. Ezra had a pattern of reinventing herself, not just her name, but her personality, beliefs, even her appearance. By 2017, Ezra was dating a young man named Jason Mangle, a military medic and writer. But as their relationship progressed, Ezra became entangled in a web of infidelity, jealousy, and manipulation, a web that would ultimately lead to murder. A love triangle becomes a time bomb. Jason Mangle was not the only man in Ezra's life. During their relationship, Ezra began an affair with a barista and aspiring artist named Alex Woodworth. Alex was quiet, intellectual, and fascinated by philosophy, a kindred spirit to Ezra in many ways. They bonded over long conversations about art, literature, and the meaning of life. But what began as an emotional connection soon turned into a sexual relationship. Ezra, however, wasn't honest with either man. She told Alex that her relationship with Jason was over a lie. She continued seeing Jason while deepening her involvement with Alex. The situation became increasingly volatile, especially when Jason found out about the affair. Ezra claimed Alex had taken advantage of her, even going so far as to allege that he had assaulted her, an accusation she would later retract. Caught between two men and facing the consequences of her deception, Ezra's life began to unravel. Her friends noticed a change. She became more erratic, emotional, and withdrawn. She would often journal dark thoughts and sketches, hinting at self-harm and feelings of being trapped. Then, on March 22, 2018, something snapped. A mysterious disappearance. On that March day, Ezra told Jason that she needed some time alone to clear her head. She packed a small bag, took his car, and left supposedly to visit her mother. But Ezra never made it to her destination. Instead, she drove to Oaklair and picked up Alex Woodworth. According to Ezra, she wanted closure. She claimed she needed to talk to Alex to end things once and for all. But whatever was said between them that day, only one of them would live to tell the story, and even that version would soon be cast into doubt. Hours later, Ezra showed up at a farmhouse in nearby Spring Brook, barefoot, covered in mud, blood on her clothes, and several injuries to her body, including cuts on her arms and a carved word on her forearm. Boy. She looked disoriented, cold, and frightened. She told the homeowner she had been assaulted and needed help. The authorities were called immediately, and what unfolded next would leave investigators baffled.
This is Don Sipple calling, and I have a young lady that just came to my house and somebody attacked her and she needs a doctor. Her clothes are all torn and
what is the address you're located at?
What?
What is the address you are at?
E7614 430th Avenue.
Okay. And is she injured?
Yeah, she's injured. Her mouth is kind of got some blood around it, and her clothes are all torn.
Okay. And she's by herself?
She's by herself. She walked to my house here just recently.
Okay. And can you ask her what her name is?
Just hold on a second.
Okay.
What's your name, ma'am? What? You don't know? She's in kind of bad shape. She just says she don't know.
Okay. Let me put you on hold. Do not hang up. I'm going to start some help, okay?
Sure.
Did she say who did this to her?
No, she said she was attacked, assaulted, and she's from Oaklair.
Okay. And,
Yeah, tell me your name. Do you have any idea who did this to you?
Later that evening, police found Jason Mangle's car parked on a remote dirt road near the Oaklair River. Nearby, they made a gruesome discovery: the body of Alex Woodworth slumped in the front seat. Forensic experts also noted that Ezra's injuries were superficial compared to the brutality inflicted on Alex. Ezra initially claimed self-defense. She told investigators that Alex had sexually assaulted her, and she had no choice but to fight back. Even more damning was her behavior after the murder. Instead of calling 911 or seeking immediate help, she wandered barefoot for miles before arriving at a stranger's home. She didn't try to save Alex. She made no attempt to alert anyone about the crime until long after he was dead. Ezra McCandless faces justice. In October 2019, after months of investigation, Ezra McCandless was brought to trial for the first-degree intentional homicide of Alex Woodworth. The prosecution argued that the murder was premeditated. Ezra, they claimed, had lured Alex into a secluded area under the guise of reconciliation, only to ambush him in a fit of rage and jealousy. They pointed to the brutality of the wounds, the inconsistencies in her story, and her history of manipulative behavior. The defense stuck to Ezra's version of events, that she was the victim, not the perpetrator. They argued that she acted in self-defense against a man who had previously assaulted her, even though she had recanted that allegation. On November 1st, 2019, after 4 days of deliberation, the jury found Ezra McCandless guilty of first-degree intentional homicide. She showed little emotion as the verdict was read. In February 2020, she was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 50 years, effectively ending her life as a free woman. During the sentencing hearing, the judge called the murder senseless and brutal, and described Ezra as manipulative and unremorseful. To this day, the case of Ezra McCandless continues to fascinate and disturb true crime followers. It's a case that raises difficult questions about mental health, identity, manipulation, and the consequences of unchecked emotional turmoil. The story of Ezra McCandless isn't just a tale of murder, it's a cautionary tale about identity, manipulation, and the power of narrative. Ezra crafted many versions of herself over the years, each tailored to the people in her life. But in the end, the truth couldn't be hidden. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more true crime stories.